Welcome to 99th Monkey Liberty News for Tuesday, March 11th, 2014. And of course, March 11th is the anniversary of the Fukushima tsunami and quake. And just to kind of, remember where we stand and the kind of battle that we're in. The first article today has to do with the Malaysian flight. This is from Natural News. 6 important facts you're not being told about lost Malaysia Airlines Flight 370. And the reality here is that it is not really possible to not know where a plane is. And Mike Adams has 6 points here that just make that very clear, really. And from Zero had just further information for those who are curious about the Malaysian flight. It's pretty clear that something fishy happened. And as I said yesterday, Benjamin Fulford's blog, his take on this based on the intel that he has, that it definitely was, the plane was definitely done away with, so to speak. From Ben Swan, exclusive federal lawsuit filed after Ohio kicks Libertarian candidate for governor off primary ballot. There's some very fishy stuff going on here with the Republican Party in Ohio, and for anyone who happens to live in Ohio, you may want to get involved in this to some extent, write some letters, at least talk to people, let them know what's going on. And this is just another example of how the rule of law is not observed, the Constitution is trampled, and there's just outright election theft, as there was with Ron Paul in 2012. He just was just not acknowledged as being the front runner as far as public opinion is concerned. Hopefully that'll be different for his son Rand. The New York Times has this article, Treason Against the United States. And actually, I learned about this because Glenn Greenwald tweeted it and tweeted the link. And what his statement is that treason isn't just when somebody does something that you don't like. This is Section 110 of Article 3 of the Constitution. Treason against the United States shall consist only in levying war against them or in adhering to their enemies, giving them aid and comfort. No person shall be convicted of treason unless on the testimony of 2 witnesses to the same overt act or on confession in open court. The Congress shall have power to declare the punishment of treason. There are a lot of comments I could make here. I'll try to limit myself. One I do want to mention is testimony of 2 witnesses. That is Old Testament law. The punishments in Old Testament law were very severe, but no one could be punished unless there were 2 or 3 witnesses. Absolute witnesses, yes, I saw this happen. Yes, I know this happened. And we have, circumstantial evidence and things like that. The courts work at this time in the U.S. very, in many respects, not appropriate, not true justice as far as historical precedent. But focusing in on the treason here, because of course Glenn Greenwald was referring to Ed Snowden being called treasonous, and clearly by this measure, Edward Snowden has not committed treason. Now, I would mention here that adhering to the enemies of the United States, giving them aid and comfort, the office holders who have attended Bilderberg meetings have committed treason in light of this statement. And any office holder who has attended Bilderberg, I think, should be prosecuted as having committed treason. if, all you have to do is find the two witnesses, people who work in the hotels where Bilderberg meetings have occurred. Yes, I saw them enter the meeting. And so there are so many things that have been made to appear complicated that are really very simple. People have either done something or they haven't. The Constitution has either been upheld or it has been ignored. And in many respects, the Constitution has been ignored. And when the government does not uphold the Constitution, when people in the government do not uphold and observe the Constitution, they have broken not only the law, but they have broken faith and broken covenant with the American people. Because the Constitution provides a covenant. It's a sort of covenant between the people of the U.S. and the government of the U.S. And once a covenant is broken, there is no further obligation on the part of the person who is the injured party. And that is us. It's the government who broke the Constitution, not the people. And therefore, because they've broken the Constitution, they've broken the covenant, they're no longer a valid government. And what do we do about that? I don't know. But we certainly, I would say, don't have to obey them. Don't have to acknowledge or follow their regulations. Regulations aren't even, in many respects, they're not even true law. They're just some direction that somebody made up. And they may have happened to be in a, quote, official, end quote, position. But that doesn't really even make it a law unless Congress passed it. And any law that Congress has passed that is unconstitutional is also not valid. So I don't know what this game is that we're continuing to play. It's like we're playing country, like little kids play house. We're playing country. We don't really have, little kids pretend like they're married when they play house, right? Well, we don't have a real covenant with our government because they have broken the covenant by not upholding the Constitution, not observing the Constitution. So there have been a lot of treasonous acts, and how we deal with that, I don't know. Once people become more and more and more aware of this, they're going to be angry. And many of us who have become accustomed to these things and understand how this is played out, we've sort of become accustomed to these facts and these ideas. But when people, it's new to them, and they learn it all at once, they're going to be angry. And I believe that process is beginning, and not a moment too soon, because as David Icke has posted here, Thermonuclear Monarchy and Revolution. And this article is about how, many people kind of believe that military spending is being cut. Well, this first paragraph, now we, or at least the 0.03% of us who care to hunt for it, discover that U.S. military spending is not actually being cut at all, but is increasing. Also going up is U.S. spending on nuclear weapons. Some of the new nukes will violate treaties, but the entire program violates the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, which requires disarmament, not increased armament. So here again is more covenants being broken. And again, once a covenant is broken, all bets are off. So it's crucial that we require our government to honor these treaties, and that's first of all, and of course, stop lying to us. People are led to believe that military spending is being cut, but it's not. So, of course, there's a lot more information here. and David Icke has a link to it. This is a YouTube video. I think it was Jon Rappaport who tweeted this link. How television and sports are being used to manipulate us. And this is only a 10-minute video. Actually, I found this tweet from Jon Rappaport and found this link, and Alex Jones this morning is also talking about how we have been mind controlled and manipulated by TV. So actually, Alex is asking people who can do animated videos to show in animation how Americans have gone from being vigorous, active people to being brainwashed zombies sitting in front of television with our mouths open drooling. So a good video here if you have friends who are unaware of what is happening to them as they watch television. From RT, Snowden at SXSW, the Constitution was being violated on a massive scale. Snowden is meeting with some criticism, and a lot of Liberty people don't believe he's for real. But certainly, if his message gets out to the broader public and people become aware that the Constitution not only was being violated on a massive scale, but still is, perhaps this can be helpful. And I don't have a strong opinion about Edward Snowden, but I tend to have deep respect for Jon Rappaport. And he has written this blog, Is Edward Snowden Lying? And based on what he has written here, it seems as if he is tending to believe that Snowden is not the real deal. He has an interesting military background, and you can read the backstory on Snowden here in Jon Rappaport's blog and decide for yourself what you think of Edward Snowden. From Infowars.com, CBS Journalist resigns after being pressured over anti-Obama reporting. Sharyl Attkisson has been in a battle. I certainly don't know all the aspects of it. I suspect a lot of it has been behind closed doors. I know I've had a little tiny bit of experience because in helping Ian Garland get his story out about how he was set up and jailed as part of a sting operation in Fast and Furious, Sharyl Attkisson for a while was very interested in helping him tell his story, and even visited the jail where he was being unlawfully held to do an interview with him. And even though it had all been set up and approved, the night before she was to go there, the officials in the jail said that she would not be able to interview him, would not be able to even speak with him. So I know at that point she really was fighting the good fight. I had heard that she was threatened by people in the Obama administration that she should stop looking into Fast and Furious. And she did stop looking into Fast and Furious. And a couple months ago, she was writing an expose on what was going on with the animals at the Washington Zoo. So that is quite a distance from doing investigative reporting on Fast and Furious. So I'm sure this has been a frustrating, probably heartbreaking process for her, as it is for everyone who begins to realize how shallow news really is, and how the extent to which the establishment news really is lying to people. So I'm glad that she at least resigned. I hope that she finds a really great path and great success in new undertakings where she can really be an effective journalist, being able to break the truth to people. And I shared yesterday an article about a group of college journalists who are beginning to very vociferously object to what they call junk food news or junk food media. And I'm hoping that that is a sign that there is a broad awakening on college campuses. And I'm hoping this is also a sign of that. Rutgers students protest Condi Rice pick for graduation speaker. And it may just be because she's a Republican, but she also, most people who study such things are aware that she is very closely linked with the elite, social engineers, and not a caring nurturer. So perhaps that these college students are aware of that also. And moving into some good news here from the Daily Sheeple. Breaking: Connecticut police officers refuse to confiscate, will not be party to the oppression of the people. So they're refusing to confiscate guns. That is tremendous news. And thank you, true public servants, Connecticut police officers who are refusing to confiscate guns. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And a couple instances here of states that are pushing back from the 10th Amendment Center, pushing back, I should say, against federal tyranny. Tennessee Legislature votes unanimously to nullify some federal roadside checkpoints. And we've all heard about federal roadside checkpoints in Tennessee from Alex Jones and others. And the legislature is getting involved and drawing the line and telling the feds, no, not on my time, not in my state. So good for them. And I'm not sure here, some federal roadside checkpoints should be all. This is the voluntary checkpoints, but certainly this is an advance. So go Tennessee. And this is just a tweet. I'm closing with this today because of the good news that 12 states are supporting Nullify NSA. And the tweet was, New Hampshire is among 12 U.S. states to support Nullify NSA movement. Bonus, no income tax, of course. New Hampshire, if you can move there, good for you. And of course, as I mentioned yesterday, there's a spot in West Virginia where there are no EMFs. That might be a good place to move. Not all of us have the means to move, and many of us, I think, feel called to stay where we are and engage the tyranny where we are in the way that we can. So that's great. And the 12 states, there are 12, count them. And that is really pretty great that there are 12 states who have joined the Nullify NSA movement. So awesome. That's certainly one way to limit federal tyranny, just through the 10th Amendment rights by the states. So with that, if you have an opportunity to get involved in your state, if you know some members of your state legislature, maybe you can fill them in on some of these ideas. Thanks for tuning in for today's 99th Monkey Liberty News. Weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. Hoping that you will love one another, take care, and insist on liberty and justice.